the world to make a better life, a better place.
So the mantra of this channel is we document random events on our social life, our life experiences, how to build godly relationship. So we thought we could make a better life by educating ourselves, our viewers, and the world as a whole. So always join us as we take on this glorious adventure. Thank you. Hello, lovely viewers. Welcome back to our channel, Estelle Youth Arena. Embrace the world to become a better life and a better world as well. Okay, so in today's show, we'll be talking about time management. And most often, we youth of today, we normally misuse our time by doing the wrong thing at the right time, and vice versa. So I'll leave it to my co-host.
So, guys, our guest for today is in the person of Mr. Courage Oliver Asamoah, aka Main Smart. Let's welcome our guest for today. So, Brother Courage, you are welcome to our channel, Youth Arena. We are very delighted to have you in our midst. Can you please introduce yourself small to the viewers?
Okay, thank you so much for having me, Youth Arena. I mean, it's an honor and it's a great privilege to, be here. And briefly, I'm Brother Courage, and normally people call me Name Smart. And I'm a child of God, and and also I would say I'm smart, and I'm just a simple guy who wants to do great things in simple ways. So simply, that is smart.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much. We are very delighted to have you in our midst. So today we are going to talk about time management, time management, time management. Of late, youth of today do not manage their time well. They misuse their time wrongly. So can you please explain what time management is?
Okay, when we talk about time management, I mean, time management is a very broad, discipline. But in a very simple way, time management is simply the best way we can, utilize our time, in very judicious way to achieve, greater things. For instance, if we have a goal or we have something we want to achieve, then we manage our time in that direction so that we can achieve a greater thing, perhaps in the long run, in the short run, or perhaps in the future. So, and that is time management. And one thing I would say also is that time management is two words. So we have management and we have time. And so, what is time? To me, I believe that time is as old as the days of creation. And so we can see that time existed before even you and I were created. So clearly we can see that time is value. We can see that time is like a commodity. We can see that time is precious. It's a treasure that we uphold. And so simply time is everything. It cuts across everywhere. Is it cooking? Is he eating? Is it bathing? Whatever it is, time is everywhere.
Okay, so Mint Smart, you made mention of time being precious and a commodity. There is a saying that there is time for everything. Okay, what's your view about that?
Oh, okay. There is time for everything. I will start by saying that the very fact that we didn't start this show yesterday and we started today signifies that there is time for everything. There is time to be born into this world, and there is a time to exit this world, and that is the popular saying that somebody has died, you know. And so there is also a time to plant. So we have the time to plant corn, the time to plant maybe cassava or anything. So clearly we can see that there is time for everything. But what is the insight behind that? It tells us that we can't use our time anyhow, and we have to use our time for the right things. We have to know when to use our time to do this and to do that. So we have to know that, okay, this is the time to study, this is the time to go and play, this is the time to go and do that. So clearly there is time for everything if we really want to manage our time well.
So, Miss Smart, then how do we manage our time well? Since you are saying that there is time for everything, so how then do we manage our time well? Maybe there are some tips, some steps to follow in order to manage the time well.
Okay, thank you for that wonderful question also. I believe that there are principles in this life that we have to follow to do a lot of things, and there are so many ways by which we can use our time wisely or manage our time wisely. But I will first of all begin by saying that something I wrote down. I thought about purpose. So I've realized that the greatest challenge I have found in the world today is not even war. I found out that the challenge is how we can find our space in the crowd, in the multitude. And if you find that space, I mean, the joy that surfaces is forever. What am I trying to say? I'm simply trying to say that, I mean, we have to first of all find purpose. And when we find purpose, then we can talk about how to manage time well, or how we can use our time wisely. So the first thing we have to look forward for is what? Purpose. 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 And when we find purpose, then we know that, okay, and when we talk about purpose, I mean, it's not like a very broad thing that you might be thinking, oh, what is it? What can you do best? I mean, what do you want to do? Where do you want to go? And when you answer some of these few questions, we arrive at purpose. You understand? So when you find purpose, the next thing to also do to use the time wisely is to plan. You plan, and every plan that you make, those plans should be in line with your purpose. You get it? And then after planning, then you set priorities. And when we talk about priorities, we look at the list of importance from the top and then to the down. And then the priorities are also in line with your purpose. So when you do that, you are on your way to manage your time wisely. Another way also is investment. What do you invest your time into? If you want to become a pilot, then you have to invest your time in the right courses. Invest your time in the right even institution before you can be able to arrive at that thing you want to achieve. So we look at, first of all, before you can utilize your time well, look for purpose, plan, and then after planning, look at the priorities. And after priorities, you invest your time well. And another way to also manage our time is we have to look around the friends we mingle with. I mean, the people we mingle with. Are those people gonna help us fulfill our purpose? So in part of utilizing our time wisely, also we have to look for the right friends. And when we find the right friends, we also another way to utilize our time wisely. And so that is my little tip on managing our time wisely.
Okay, that's nice. It's smart. Okay, so there is this question I wanted to ask. That let's say, for instance, you're a leader at church, and on Sunday you have an activity to perform, and on that very same Sunday you have an exam to write as well. What are you going to do? Are you going for class, or you go for your church activities? Yeah, in relation to time management.
Okay, if I mean the class or examination is on, I mean that day, or is conflicting with the church service, I would advise that in relation to time management, I mean you should go for the class, or go and write that examination. But after you are done, I mean you should request for what have been taught in church that day, and then you listen to it. On the other hand, also you have to understand that what forced balance is an abomination unto God. And on the other hand, also let's take for instance, maybe perhaps you heard God that okay, that day you heard God in the morning. God said that okay, don't go to class, or don't go write that examination, but be in church. Are you sure it's the voice of God, or it's your own mind? I believe that God is a God of person who stands for knowledge, integrity, and stands for the right thing. And so, in the relation to time management, I think you should go for the exam. When you're back, get what have been taught, and then make good use of that. And I think with that we are good to go.
Mini smart. Could it not be that God wants to test our faith? Because looking at Abraham in the Bible, and then God, we all know that he wasn't having a child, and then finally God granted him a child, and then God asked him to sacrifice his child to him. In this case, is he doing the wrong thing at the wrong time, or doing the right thing at the wrong time? Because maybe God wants to test our faith. That's why he's saying that don't go and write the exams.
Okay, with that, when you look at Abraham had a very intimate relationship with God. And so Abraham hears directly from God. And he knows that that's the voice of God. But on the other hand also, you have to understand that this question depends on the relationship you have with God. I mean, your walk with God determines what you do and what not to do. So if, for instance, you have that intimate relationship with God, you understand, and God says that my son or my daughter that morning, be in church, I want to use you to do something, and you are sure that that is the voice of God, I mean, you should go. Because one thing is that at the long run, you should understand that that certificate you're running after is vanity upon vanity. And one thing you also have to understand is that when it is God, when it is God, there is nothing to fear. There is nothing to be worried about. Because he has already made provision for whatever thing that will be.
It's Youth Arena. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Estelle Youth Arena. Thank you, lovely viewers, for watching our show today. Always remember to subscribe, like, share, comment.
Until next time, it's still your host, Eliza.
I'll be
Peace.
Shalom.